It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So,
Hello and welcome. It's a very special show here on Firstpost that's heading your way because it's a very special day. It's a historic day here for Indian chess and sports because it is the homecoming of Gukesh. So I thought here that I would take the show outside. Hi, I'm Rupha Ramani. What's heading your way then over the next half an hour? We are covering the return of Gukesh, India's only second world chess champion. What's his homecoming going to be like? The reactions, the sights, the sounds, and all of his neighbors, his friends, family, everyone really reacting to the biggest achievement that the Indian has made this year. It's been quite a historic moment, but it's not just about chess and not just that. There's more happening down under. India versus Australia, the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Our eye is also there. A controversial statement has erupted, reopening the Monkey Gate episode of 2008. Commentator Isa Guha made a statement about Jasprit Bumrah that has really opened a can of worms. What was all of that about? I'll tell you more as the show comes in, but before that, here's a look at the headlines.
Starting with football, Manchester United beat Manchester City 2-1 in the Manchester Derby. After trailing until the second half, Bruno Fernandes' penalty brought United back into the game. Amad Diallo scored the winner minutes before the end of play. In another match, Chelsea beat Brentford 2-1 in a Premier League match. Chelsea's Marc Cucurella scored the opening goal of the match. Nicholas Jackson doubled Chelsea's lead in the second half. With this win, Chelsea are just 2 points behind league leaders Liverpool. Over in cricket, England captain Ben Stokes suffered a hamstring injury during the ongoing third test between England and New Zealand. With England needing 640 to win at the end of third day's play, Stokes is likely ruled out of the match. Over in the NBA, LeBron James returned after a 2-game absence in Los Angeles Lakers' 116-100 win over Memphis Grizzlies. Having missed the previous 2 games due to personal reasons, James scored 18 points to give Lakers their 14th win of the season. And summing it up with news from Formula 1, reports say Daniel Ricciardo has confirmed his Formula 1 retirement. The Aussie driver was asked if he will be joining the American team Cadillac. The 35-year-old responded by saying, "No, I am done."
At the outset, this feels like I am in a very quaint, small, residential bylane. You're seeing these houses all stacked up next to each other in an Indian city, but this is no ordinary street. In fact, it's just beginning to start bustling up. There is some murmurs, there is some people all coming out excited because I'm walking down the street where Gukesh Domuraju grew up. I'm in Chennai and this is the day when he is going to arrive. He's not even reached home, but I've already bumped into a lot of his neighbors, his relatives, aunties and uncles who are already sharing stories about how he was as a little boy growing up.
Gukesh is a very young guy, very determined guy. So my very fond memory with him was, though we used to play cricket down the line over here, this is the streets where he played, he never used to come out and play cricket with us. So he was always very determined right from class 2nd. We would be playing cricket over here, he would be practicing chess right inside his house. So I think at the age of 18, what he has achieved today, he is definitely a role model for every young Indian. He will go down into the memory lane of becoming the youngest champion. So from past 8 years, I think I have not seen him properly ever, only on any special occasions. So yeah, proud of him. Moreover, I think today his father's hard work has paid off, because from past 7-8 years, I suppose uncle has given him a lot of support. He is almost living a retired life now, taking him to all the coaching centers and rigorously supporting him. So I wish uncle all the very best and very proud of you, Gukesh.
Actually, super delighted and happy to stand here being a neighbour of Gukesh family, we have seen Gukesh growing up right from a tiny tot. So we have seen him always down to earth, driving his cycle, and also playing, celebrating his birthday functions with my children as well. So we never thought that today he would be a world champion, but then such a down to earth person, and we saw his dedication and hard work. And that is what it speaks today. The whole nation is celebrating his success. We are super happy. The moment the news came about his winning the chess, I was just going through the albums and discussing with my children about his birthday celebrations. And he used to visit our house often. So from a tiny tot, today we see him to be a grown-up boy. Very happy for his success. Let God profusely bless him. We are so proud.
Pursuing his passion that's now seen him be world chess champion. Of course, there's a lot of activity here, but this is still just the quiet before the storm, because right behind me is that poster. The street is readying up. You've got pictures there of his Olympiad win, and of course the big one, the World Chess Championship, where he beat Ding Liren before coming in here. But he's got a busy day lined up for him. There are a lot of press briefings, interactions, and meet or greets as well. It's definitely going to take some time before all of this sinks in. But this street is definitely very excited to welcome their very own World Chess Champion. Well, it's been a buzzing, busy day for the youngest World Chess Champion. Gukesh Domraju hasn't had a moment's rest, in fact, from the moment he entered India. He couldn't even head home. He had to straight go for his own felicitation. And as I was walking there along with Gukesh's father, Rajnikant, he was speaking about how Gukesh hadn't slept for 3 whole days. He's really been exhausted. In fact, at the felicitation, the entire media was gathered, a horde of journalists, camera persons, digital, print, television, all of them waiting to listen to what Gukesh had to say about his very historical victory. He had one special word to speak about the latest coach to join his support staff, and he also spoke about having his eyes set on the GOAT of chess, Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah, my target has always been to become the best player in the world. And when I was a kid, world champion is world champion is a very important step towards the dream. But still, it's clear that there are a lot of strong players, and I still have a lot of improvement to do. And players like Magnus, they keep motivating me to work harder. And although this is a big achievement, and I know it comes at a very young age, I think that it's still a very long way to go. And my goal is to keep enjoying chess and to have a very long career, and hopefully one day to become the best player in the world. Paddy has been a very important part of my team. I asked Sandeep sir. After I won the candidates, I asked Sandeep sir, who was my sponsor, Westbridge, and Sandeep sir got immediately in touch with Paddy, for a mental training thing, and Paddy. We started working in preparation for the World Championship, and I've learned a lot of things, and I enjoyed all the conversations that I had with him. And in the World Championship, it's not only about chess, but there's a lot of mental and emotional struggles that you have to deal with. And Paddy has had experience with high-level sports and high-level performance in different sports, and for me, for sure, the conversations that we had and the suggestions that he has given me for this match, and for me as a person to develop myself has been very important, and I would like to give a lot of credit for him. For especially you could see that, like for example, I lost game 1 and game 12, two very important games, and it's very tough to handle that in those moments. And Paddy, his teachings have really helped me overcome those moments. So yeah, huge thanks to Paddy Upton.
Well, after that very hectic and manic press conference, it was time for Gukesh to finally come back home. It's been quite the hectic few days and a very, very busy day in itself. He was welcomed by a lot of his friends, his neighbours, some of his relatives as well, who were there waiting since the wee hours in the morning, including his house help who had come there just to welcome him back home after what's been such a rewarding and intense few weeks.
Congratulations, Gukesh.
When we speak about India versus Australia and the Border Gavaskar Trophy, it isn't without its fair share of intense battles, exchanges and encounters, which is what we always remember. Of course, this particular series has had its fair share, and not just on the field. There's also been heated exchange. The one that really sparked off and was the highlight so far was what transpired between Indian bowler Mohammad Siraj and of course Australian batter who's kept the Indians on their toes, Travis Head. That really snowballed into something more grave and serious. And just when we thought that intensity and those heated exchanges have abated, there is another episode that has erupted, and this a rather unpleasant one. The player in the centre of this particular storm is Jasprit Bumrah, former England cricketer and now a commentator in this series. Isa Guha came under fire and seems to have opened a can of worms when she made a comment about Jasprit Bumrah's performance. This is what she said.
Well, he's the MVP, isn't he? Most valuable primate Jasprit Bumrah. He's the one that's going to do all the talking for India. And why so much focus was on him in the build-up to this test match and whether he would be fit.
Yes, Isa Guha is praising Jasprit Bumrah's performance. But the word she used was rather incorrect. The intent was right, and why not? Jasprit Bumrah has been the spark for India in this series. He in fact surpassed another Indian cricketer, Kapil Dev's record of the most number of 5-wicket hauls outside Asia. This was his 10th, and it came against a very competitive side like Australia in Australia. So yes, Isa Guha's intent was to praise Jasprit Bumrah, but it came out wrong, and of course it caught all the fans' rage. Everyone came out and criticized this comment. Isa Guha, unwittingly targeted by fans, she became the subject and the target of all of their rage, and justifiably so. Now, the word she used was primate. Now, it's not something that we use in this current time. We don't use that word because it alludes to racial undertones. And of course, it also opened up a wound that India and Australia had sort of closed and probably almost forgot about. It reopened the famous Monkey Gate scandal, which erupted in 2008, went down in the chapter of India-Australia rivalry as one of the worst episodes that had to have transpired between the two cricketing giants. Of course, it was well chronicled, but just to give you to sum up what really happened back then. Andrew Symonds, during the match, of course, accused former India bowler and who's also a commentator here in the series, Harbhajan Singh, of having called him a monkey. The episode again generated a lot of heat. There was a lot of attention, media attention, scrutiny. There were a lot of hearings that happened. Many other senior cricketers came in, gave their views on the matter. Of course, Harbhajan Singh was suspended initially, but then he was proved innocent and was only docked a 50% match fee. Things moved on from there, of course, even though both countries, the players involved in that, still carried the wounds from that. So this particular word by Isa Guha reopened that entire episode, which is why Isa Guha had to come out and issue an apology.
Yesterday in commentary, I used a word that can be interpreted in a number of different ways. Firstly, I'd like to apologize for any offence caused. I only meant the highest praise for one of India's greatest players and someone that I admire greatly as well. I have chosen the wrong word, and for that, I am deeply sorry.
Everyone who knows Isa Guha knows she's a very well-respected commentator, and it was pretty brave of her to come out and call it, as it were, and apologize. Of course, a lot of other fellow commentators have come to her support. Someone like Ravi Shastri also backed Isa Guha despite her making a mistake.
Brave woman to apologize on live television takes some steel. You heard it from the horse's mouth. So as far as I am concerned, game's over. People are entitled to make mistakes. We are all humans.
Well, the controversy that this particular word, that this comment has generated amongst all fans, watchers, critics, commentators and everyone who's really invested in the sport is understandable. And it comes at a time when India is clearly is behind the 8 ball. They've not had a very, very positive test so far. Australia has piled on the agony by scoring a massive first innings total, and India really struggling at 51 for 4. The one lone spark, the one person to have really brought some sort of a heat back to Australia with the performance, with the ball, has been Jasprit Bumrah. He's sort of carried the entire bowling unit with that performance, and everyone is looking to him to keep focus on. And because this is not the first time that Jasprit Bumrah has had to be in the center of something like this. In fact, in Australia, in the last tour, he was subjected to many taunts of racial in nature, racist undertones by a lot of the Aussie fans. So this isn't new to Jasprit Bumrah, yes, but of course everyone, particularly Indian fans, want him to keep focus on, especially at this time. So even at the press conference, when Jasprit Bumrah came forward to address the media, and there was a question on him carrying that baggage or him really being distracted by the noise, you realized the experience that he comes with, because this was his response.
I cannot take extra baggage. I do not take any opinion seriously. I look at myself and give my absolute best. I cannot carry someone else's energy or baggage.
Of course, Jasprit Bumrah's words really highlight how sound and stable he is, how he can ride through any adversary, anything that might peg anyone back. So we brought you different facets of this developing story. But what's the bigger issue here? Now, the role of a commentator, especially in a series where there's always something going on constantly, is to be that perfect mediator between what's happening on the field and what to perceive it as. It's not just about the action. It's not just about what happens between bat and ball or that contest. It's about presenting different perspectives. It's about reading body language. It's about how a person is on the field. It's to project what players are thinking, how are they battling it out, and what is the strategy at play. The role of a commentator is also to present cricket in the right way, to present the right spirit of the game. So every word he or she utters has to be measured. And more so when it's involving India and Australia, where tension is always high, where everyone is always on the edge of the seat, and especially in a country like Australia, where the hostility already around a cricket match, especially when it has India involved, is sky high. Everyone is already clued in. All it takes is one word, one gesture, one misstep to really transform something that might seem basic, that might seem simple, to something more complex, to something more tense and something more intense. It doesn't take much to rile up the crowd here and to make things bigger than what already is. So that's what the highlight of this particular story is. Isa Guha is a very senior commentator, but every word has an impact. And maybe that's where this one runs a little raw. Maybe if she had watched the word here, been a little more careful, it wouldn't have amounted to this. She was brave enough to come and apologize, like Ravi Shastri said, but he also said she made a mistake. And that's where the larger responsibility lies. Of course, the series has again sparked off another fresh battle and has again highlighted the intensity with which India and Australia always take each other on. But we'll have to see how this test pans out and whether this particular incident will have any repercussions on any of the players or the spectators who are involved in this particular series. Time for last serve. Qatar has been very busy, especially in sporting endeavours towards the end of the year. This time, it's a Queen and King beach volleyball tournament that they organised. Take a look at the pictures. That wraps it up here on Firstpost. We hope you enjoyed this slightly different coverage that we brought to you today as the year comes to a close, but sporting action and perspectives, of course, keeps happening. Do keep tuning in to us for more such fresh updates and perspectives from the world of sports. Till then, bye-bye. See you tomorrow.